Good evening. It is I, Roncar. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. You are coming upon the season in which you have decided, meaning you, those people who have gone before you in your country, have decided that there was a special time to be put aside to give thanks. And generally, this was after the harvest was completed, so that people did not have to work in the fields and did not have to work at harvesting. They could take the day off and they could cook whatever needed to be cooked. And for their celebration, of course, they would have many different dishes depending upon what they had available. You see, not everyone, and not everyone has everything available to them. Some people may have had game in the form of deer or turkeys or chickens. They may have had different things. And of course, there would have been the vegetables that they harvested. And so they would be preparing those and setting everything out on their table and taking the moment to give thanks to God for everything, the blessings they had received, all the food that was in their larders, and all the meat that they perhaps had been able to put aside, but also all the meat that they give thanks in advance, the meat that they would have to eat at some point in time when they needed it. There would be game around which they could hunt and they could also eat. And they gave thanks for the lives of those game animals that provided them with the food that they needed and would be needing over the winter. And so I know I am speaking about Thanksgiving just a bit early, but this gives you plenty of time to begin to think about all the assets, all the wonderful things you have in your life to give thanks for. Most of you have a nice sound house to be living in that you can keep warm through whatever your heating system is. And while it may not keep you as warm as you would like, it keeps you as warm as you are able to buy for the fuel that provides the heat. And is that not something to be thankful for? That you have been able to buy some fuel and you can keep the cold away from yourself. You can be thankful for all your family members and your friends. You can be thankful for your spouses, your children, and that everybody is healthy or as healthy as they can be. And you can give thanks for the work that you can do and the intellectual stimulation that you get every day by going to work. Of course, it provides to you the money by which you buy your food. You no longer have to grow everything, and you do not have to hunt for your game, for your proteins and meat on your table. And so this is a blessing too for you, that you have work available so that you have an income. There are so many different ways and things to think about. And in the forthcoming week, it might be good for you to start a list somewhere on a sheet of paper saying the things that you are thankful for. So you can start that list with perhaps family and friends, or depending upon where you are in life, it may have to do with saying that you are thankful for your children, that you are thankful for your spouse, if you have one, or your partner, that you are thankful in many different ways. Because you have heard many messages about having gratitude for your life. And so the ability to work, the ability to cook, the ability to take a walk and exercise, the ability to read, the ability to learn, the ability to remember. These things are all worth being grateful for. And so I ask you to start thinking about what you would like to put on your gratitude list for Thanksgiving. Because I guarantee on Thanksgiving Day, you will be much too busy to think about these things. So start now and see how long the list can be, and just have it available on Thanksgiving Day. And perhaps if you and your family members are together and you are sharing a meal and you are giving thanks, you can speak these things out loud to show your gratitude for all the everyday blessings that are in your life that you take for granted. And it is fine that you take them for granted. That is all right. Because in your time and your age, these things are available to you. And you can easily use them. And so, in a sense, you don't need to be grateful for them, but you do want to acknowledge, at least once a year, that all these things that make your life pleasant and happy and interesting, that these things are what you are grateful for in every day. And so now it is time for me to take questions. Does anybody have a question this evening? Please speak up.
Yes. Yes, Norma. Hello, Roncar.
Hello.
I have a question.
Yes.
I wonder, since I have the depression, almost 4 years, and I'm taking the medication, and everything right now it's very stable and very good. But it's any chance in the future, do I still have to take the chemicals? I mean, because they are not natural medication. They are made by the men, by the pharmaceutical company. Do I will have a slightest chance to just stop taking that medication?
So in a sense, you are asking my permission to try and stop taking medication, because at the moment you are feeling calm and happy and peaceful. Is that correct?
Yes, and I stopped so many times and it was not good. So I just wonder, it's that for the end of my life I have to be on the medication? Because it's still like in the back in my head, what if this time I will stop and I will be on my own?
Well, you have to work at cultivating certain happy habits. Now, the key to being happy all the time is to see the events in your life in the way that makes you most happy. If you do not have the capability of seeing something that has happened to you that is slightly unfavorable to you, and thinking about it in a way that it doesn't have to make you happy, but at least it is not going to make you sad. That you see this merely as a temporary situation, perhaps, or that you see this incident that is going on in your life as 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 a neutral thing that is a challenge, perhaps, to you to see how well you can use your intellect and your abilities to solve this problem or this situation. And one of those things is that when you are not getting medications, which boost your emotion that makes you feel good and pleasant. I cannot come up with the word for it right now. That you can see things specifically in this way because you have trained yourself to always think and see things in the positive fashion, so that whatever happens, you do not let it upset you or get you angry or get you sad. People might say things to you. Well, you would have to think, what kind of situations would make you most unhappy in your life? Can you change these to make yourself happy? Can you look at them in a way that is different than these are things I don't like having in my life? These are things I don't want to put up with. You see, when you are depressed, you are always thinking, life is hard. Life is terrible. I shouldn't have to do this. I am tired. I cannot be happy with what I am doing. I am tired. I am tired. I am depressed. I think that life is terrible. You see, these thoughts, which when you are not taking the medication, tend to come to you more quickly than they do when you are taking the medication. The medication helps you keep these thoughts away. In order for you not to become depressed, you have to deliberately focus on these kind of thoughts in every day. You should focus on what you are thankful for, that you are thankful for your clothes, you are thankful for your shoes, you are thankful for your food, you are thankful for your income. If you have a husband, you are happy with your husband, you are thankful for your husband. And if he does something nice for you, you are thankful for that. If he doesn't do something nice for you and doesn't help you in the house, you still do not care because you have a companion and you will do whatever you need to do to keep your house, yourself, your being in good shape and clean. And so this is what your challenge is. If you go off your medication, you must begin to think these thoughts on your own so that you do not become depressed. Do you understand?
That makes so much sense. So much sense, Roncar. I was not ready previous years because I wasn't thinking that way. Right now, I have completely different set of my mind. I'm just unbelievable happy and grateful, and everything inside it's completely different when it used to be with me. So Thank you. Thank you so much. That is just unbelievable. Excellent. Excellent.
You are,
Excellent.
you are most welcome. I am glad that you found that helpful, but you have to evaluate your ability and your desire to keep thinking these good thoughts always. Because if you think of these good thoughts always, you will keep the bad thoughts. That life is terrible and you don't want to live it anymore away.
No, no, that's definitely enough. Can I have one more question?
Of course.
It's right now in my life, it's like on the crossroads. I'm thinking a lot gonna change. I know for fact, and my mind is sometimes just racing for the choices. One of them is it's gonna be better for me if I will move from New Jersey, change the state for the more affordable life, or it's still staying in the spot when I came 34 years ago.
You are asking me if moving to a different state would benefit you?
Yes, it's that in the cards, let's say. It's that in my future. It's that one of the most beneficial decision, or it's gonna be better to stay where I am in New Jersey and work that out.
Once again, you have to evaluate your ability to make friends and find people wherever you go to be a support group of friends. That's what friends are. They support one another. And you will be happier if you are living in a place where you have friends and there are interesting things for you. Perhaps you have been thinking of moving south to a warmer state and somewhere further in the south of the United States.
Yes, yes.
And the extra sun will help to stimulate you toward being more optimistic for in the winter time than at this time. You may have difficulty in the winter because you need more sunlight, and moving to the south might be helpful. But if you can't make friends, if you can't find people that you like, if you can't find things that are interesting for you to do, then it will not help you to move
Okay.
someplace that is warmer. It is up to you to evaluate your ability to make these friends and the area you wish to go to make sure that it has the kind of thing you are interested in. If it has the right church, if it has maybe a book club, or there's work that you can do that you will find interesting, or hobbies that you can do. So it is, you must be responsible for yourself in this way. And then you can make the decision. I believe that this will work for me, and I will work at doing what I need to do to have friends around me, to do interesting things so I can continue to think in a positive manner. If you have no friends and you are lonely, you will simply become depressed, because that is what happens to lonely people. So
Yeah, yeah. So that's
that is also the answer to your question.
yes.
If you will be happy, then by all means you can move. But if you can't make friends, then you will have to it probably is not the right thing for you to do. It is best for you to stay where you have either family or friends so that you can continue to enjoy your life and have companionship.
Yes, yes, that makes sense again.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Do you have another question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My mom gonna turn 86 in February
Your
next
uncle.
year. Yes, just the simple question. Do I gonna have a chance to see her still alive? Because that I still cannot make it. I still cannot fly. It's a very long distance. And
You cannot fly, you were saying?
I plan to see her, but right now I cannot. And just I'm little bit
You just,
sometimes
now I understand your question, I believe. You are simply asking if I go next year, will I still be able to see her?
yes.
One moment, please. I believe she is in relatively good health for her age. She appears to be quite independent and quite spry, meaning that she can do the things that she wants to do. And so I believe she should be still on the earth for you to visit with when in the next year, when you will be able to afford it more.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I know there was another question. I believe Karen.
So I'm investigating unconditional love. And yet I have to recognize that there are people I just don't understand and that I can't relate to, and I just can't seem to want to be around them.
Unconditional love does not mean that you will love everyone. There are people who you simply will not love, that you will not like because of personality aspects. And this is normal and natural. It is important for you to eliminate such people from your life. You can treat them kindly, with respect, whenever you happen to be with them, but you do not have to embrace them as your friend, your best buddy, or your confidant. They are people that you might say you're allergic to. They bring about a bad reaction in yourself. You just get irritated by them. There is no reason, even if they are family members, for you to work hard to love these people. You do not have to, even if they are family members. You simply have an obligation to treat all people with kindness and be respectful. And that is all you need to do for these people. That is unconditional love. You are not placing a condition upon them. You are simply letting them go and letting them be whoever they are. You can't want to change them. That's what it means. You accept them. And accepting them so often says, I do not need them in my life. And so you only see them when you have to, or now and then.
That's really helpful. Thank you, Roncar.
You are most welcome. Does anyone else have a question?
I do.
Yes.
Dreams. Lately, I know a couple other people I know too have been going through it, but we've been like, I guess, astraling, like from dream to dream to dream. Like I haven't gotten sleep in probably like 3 or 4 nights now because it's just been going from one dream to another dream to another dream, and I haven't actually gone into the sleep like REM. It's just been dream, 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 and I'm waking up like I went through a marathon.
Well, you are telling me that you are sleeping because you are dreaming. You would not be dreaming if you were not asleep. You would be
Right.
thinking and you'd be mussing about whatever it is that is on your mind. So you are having dreams, so you are sleeping. I know that probably means you also are waking up in between dreams, but immediately falling into another dream. And it feels like you are not sleeping. But what you need to do is when you find yourself in one of those nights is just accept it, that you have a need within yourself to deal with circumstances that you have difficulty dealing with in your life. You have many of those situations, not some of them with people who are close to you, in the sense that they are family, and you have difficulty. And there is good reason for your difficulties many times. I know that you do not feel free to do many things and express yourself in many ways. You make limitations on yourself. And some of these limitations you have created in the past for the purpose of keeping yourself in check and not being yourself. Do you understand what I'm trying to express?
Yeah.
Yes. So these situations tend to create dreams because you have to deal with this in some way. And since you do not choose to deal with it in your waking hours, you are dealing with it in your sleeping hours. So while these are not nightmares, they are often reflections of stresses that you have in your life. And so they may not be as restful and pleasant as you might like your dreams to be, although they are not nightmares. I do not see that you are waking up in panic. You have enough of that to deal with in your daily life. And so it is merely because you are dealing with it as best you can in your sleep, and you are alleviating some of the tension that your daily life is under. You're stressed in your daily life.
Okay. How can I sleep tonight?
But you are going to sleep. You may dream, but you're going to go to sleep. I suggest that you find something to either read or watch on television which has a happy story. And so the last thing you feel before, or you watch, or you are thinking about before you go to sleep is as good a beneficial situation for yourself.
Okay.
So that you feel at least pleasant. And maybe, you can say that you enjoyed that movie, whatever you are reading, if it was a short story of good things, maybe watching videos about cats doing silly things, that would probably make you feel happy and make you feel good. And so you could try that, and you may be more relaxed than when you are ready to go to sleep.
Okay, I'll try that tonight.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? Well, you know what happens if there are no more questions? It's the end of the evening. So are there any more questions? Please ask them if you have anything. It's much more important to ask questions. I think we have lost someone.
Roncar, do you think there's any sort of a connection among people who have the same name? Like with this other Karen Davis who died today. Do you think that has any connection to me at all?
Well, your name does have an effect upon you, because I'm sure that you are aware that the letters in your name convert to numbers. And then the numbers are frequencies or vibrations, which are, they're part of you, because just as your name is part of you. So the Karen Davis, the medium was speaking about, was an animal activist and loved animals greatly. In particular, she loved birds. And advocated for chickens and turkeys. However, you like animals also, although it may not be birds, the one that you work for, but you spend some time trying to help animals. So there is something going on in your name, Karen Davis, which is similar to what benefited her or what was part of her life. So yes, people with the same name, the same first and last name, first and middle and last names, that these often have similar traits, simply because the vibration of their name has an influence on how they develop from the time they're tiny babies all the way through to their demise. And so, yes, the answer to your question is yes. Not that you would have identical lives in any way, but some of the influences would be the same.
And I would be counting my middle name in addition?
Yes, that is your name.
Right.
You have a middle name, and so you would put down write your name, convert the letters to numbers, and you know, I'm sure, what those numbers are. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, G is 7, H would be 8, and I is 9. And then it starts all over again with 1.
Oh, okay.
So J would be 1, K would be 2. And then you can add them up. You can look at them individually on how your first name might have a certain influence. Your second middle name might have a different influence. Your last name would have an influence. And you can, I know you can look these things up under numerology. You can look up what the numbers mean for you. So when you get the total of your name, then that is one thing that you can see. In this case, in numerology, you always try to, you are always adding your letters and numbers together. So that Karen Davis, I cannot guess at what it would be, the number that might be, but we could say that it comes to 32. And then you would add the 3 and 2 together to give you 5. So you always round everything off to a single digit. And then you could look up to see what is the influence of number 5. And then you could take your birthday, and you could add the numbers in your birthday, so that if you were born in September, we will say, make it 10, that it'd be a 9, 10. And if it was 1950, you would add 1 and 9 and 5 and 0. So 9 and 10 would make 19, and 1950 would be another 1, so it would be 20, and a 9, 29, and a 5 would be 34, and 3 and 4 make 7. And so your birthday would combine with your numbers in your name to give you a look at your personality from 2 different angles. One is called, I do not remember, but you can look these things up on the internet and check what the numbers mean, and to see which is your destiny or pathway, and what is the major influence in your life on your name. And you can look all these things up. It might be a fun thing to do on a rainy or cold afternoon when you don't wish to go out.
Okay. I'm wondering too, my father and my brother have the same name. Mm-hmm. One's a senior and one's a junior. And I don't see them as being alike. And I think my brother resisted my father in many ways.
Like his father, yes.
So it's curious that they have the same name, but they don't seem to have the same vibration.
Does one use senior and one use junior?
My father used the senior, and my brother has gone by his middle name.
So there you go. There's a change in vibration right there.
Okay.
Because the way you, if your father, his name was John Davis Sr., and he always signed senior, then that would be one difference. If your brother always if he signed junior, they're not the same any longer. They have that appellation at the end, which changes the vibration for each one. And of course, they were born at different times. And these things also shape your personality, the date you were born.
Okay.
So these are things, if you have never investigated it, numerology can be very interesting.
Well, thank you for that, Roncar.
You are most welcome. Are there any other questions?
I have another one.
Yes.
The planets. How do the planets affect us? Because I noticed, like, when Leo was out for the Lionsgate, I had massive energy and I was so positive and I was manifesting things like right and left. It was amazing. And then when we went into Virgo in September and Scorpio now, I just went like downhill, depression. But then when we just hit the 11/11 portal, I was like woof, my energy was up and I manifested something in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
So how does the different like planets going out at different times, how does that have an effect on us?
Yes, well, it does, because the simplest way is to put it is that the planets affect the water in your system. Let's face it, the moon every month goes around, and there is high tides and low tides. And when it comes to the new moon, for some reason, the pull is stronger, or with a full moon, the pull is stronger. And so the water comes up further at the ocean side. And this happens in lakes, but you hardly see that because lakes are so much smaller. And it happens in your cells, which are made up of water. And so you can see through this that just by observing it, that it does have an effect upon us. Now, the planets, although they are farther away than the moon, and so they do not appear much bigger, when the planets line up and they're positioned in the sky near or far away from one another, this will change the amount of power and the way they will affect your life. And so for that, you have to study astrology and look to see what your natal chart would be, and then progress it to find out exactly how, looking at the chart, you can see now the way the planets are either close to you or far away from you, and what planets are near other planets, so that they have an effect upon you. Now,
I have my sun is a Sag, my moon is a Cancer, my Leo is a rising.
yes, but that you need to have an astrologer, someone who looks at your birth chart. What degree, in what place are these on the chart? To say you're a Sagittarius, well, that is very vague. If you wish to say that you were born Sagittarian is the end of November, so you would say that you were born, we will say November 28th or December 3rd, whatever it is, you would find out where your sun was in the heavens, where your moon was, where your Venus and your Mars and your all the planets, where they were in your birth chart. And then you could see which ones had the most influence on your birth. Then when you progress the chart to the nearest, to the time that we are in today, and actually now it's quite easy. You can simply go to an astrology chart in the internet and ask them to progress it for you. You can look at that and see, okay, what planets are now close to you? What planets are far away? What planets are in what house? And so how they are affecting what part of your life. So it is a complex subject, particularly in astrology. Numerology is much easier, but astrology is very complex, and you need to have an astrologer who is extremely, who is good and who can interpret your chart to give you the information that you need if you are seeking certain information, or to tell you what how the planets are affecting you at this time and what you may be feeling.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I cannot help you. It is far more complicated than I can.
It is, because I have the chart, but like trying to process like what goes where. It's like, okay, house 9, and I have a lot of masculine energy in my chart, and it's like, okay, like
Well, how do you know masculine energy?
the masculine energy, I know that much. Like, I know all the masculine energy has to do with like Sagittarius. I know Capricorn represents the devil in tarot, which is new beginnings. I know Leo is fire. I have a lot of fire in my chart. Ninth house, I know that's kind of like your
Those things,
last life.
yes, those things cannot help you very well.
Yeah.
They're too general to be of any real help in figuring it out, because it really, you need to see the exact position. And yes, the houses are important, but you do not, on your birth chart, you will be able to see what house they are in and then what. So a planet in a particular house means it is affecting you in that particular area of your life, such as your health or your career or your love life or your friendships, or what area it is. Your destiny, is it affecting your on in the 12th house, or is it the 9th house? This makes a difference for each planet where it happens to be. And if the planets are close together, they are more powerful. They have a more powerful influence. And so you do not know those things, because what you are telling me is too general to be of help at all in figuring out what's happening in your life.
Yeah, it's those charts are complicated.
They are, but you can, if you desire to, you could learn what you need to learn. I would suggest you study some numerology. It is much easier. And,
Yeah, I think so.
and yes, and you could make, you can figure that out much better. It's much easier to figure out your astrology just by finding a good book and reading through the book, and they'll tell you, do this and add up the numbers, and they come out with what number, and each number has its own vibration. So
I'm gonna try that. Maybe I'll try that tonight.
okay, then that would be very fun. 1 is initiating things and leadership. 2 is spirituality. These things, I know some of them often and remember and can speak about them just a little bit, but it is quite a complicated subject.
It is.
Numerology is much easier than astrology.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Well, if there are no more questions, and we seem to have lost 1 or 2 people, they have left, but then I will say good night also. Remember, I give you all my blessings. Good night. I am back. And so you know that I always like to just come and say good night. I hope you have a wonderful night, a wonderful week all week. And remember, I love you all. Good night.
Night, Juana.